Okay, folks, as many of you know, I have been through 2 marriages, and neither one of them are what I would call successful marriages because they're over. So I thought it would be appropriate to book a guest or a series of guests, this being the first of a series, this couple, to talk about marriages. Now, this book, The Perfect Marriage, is by Jerry and Cathy McDowell, who I have here in the garage at the Cat Ranch. Welcome, Jerry. Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much.
I thought the book was helpful, if not a unique approach to what most people would call the perfect marriage. I would think people would be surprised when they read this at some of the things that you guys explore.
Really?
You have written several books. One, some parents may know, Masturbation is Okay.
Because it is
okay.
Because it is.
You don't have to convince me.
Okay.
I'm sold.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I guess that's some parents have this guilt they attach to that act.
Oh, do they?
So we're speaking to unenlightened people.
Now, what is the primary thrust of that book?
Well, it's just that at any age, masturbation's okay.
And
if you see it in a toddler or, just at any, whenever your kids start to explore their genitals, it should be encouraged and talked about, and you should share in that in whatever way you can.
And I think empirically, my wife and I, we have a son, James, who we were able actually to study and teach him what we believe about masturbation. So I think it's actually not philosophical, but it's actually very practical in the upbringing of a child.
We've done a lot of field work.
Oh, so you're saying that you showed your son how to masturbate?
Absolutely, I did. Absolutely, I did. I have no shame about that, and I think he grew up.
Day.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Now, I'm almost hesitant to ask about the other book, Potty Paradise.
Potty Paradise
Was
that's basically a potty training video when our son was, I believe, 3.5. It's a DVD and along with a book, teaching book, and again, we documented our struggle to teach a boy how to poo-poo and pee-pee in the potty.
Well, that seems normal. I mean,
yeah.
Was there anything unusual about that?
None of this is unusual. So. I find none of the books unusual.
Well, let's get to the current book because it most applies to me. In The Perfect Marriage, how long have you two been married?
23 wonderful years.
Wonderful years.
And you both, let's just get right into it. I mean, how do you make it work? That's a long time. You've had one child. How many children do you have?
We have one.
From what I understand, if I read the book properly, you spend a lot of time apart. Am I not?
Well, I think throughout the major crux of the book is that relationships are stronger if you stay independent. In our vows, Kath and I, at our wedding vows, we said, I will never compromise myself for you. And that was sort of the mandate that has made our marriage successful.
Well, that's interesting because usually it's the other way. Usually it's, I will, do anything for you. I'll be loyal to you.
But we won't, and that's the difference. We won't do anything.
Well, let's say he got sick.
Well, we've already discussed this, actually, and it depends how sick he got. I mean, if he were to become unattractive and lose a significant amount of weight, I won't promise, and I haven't promised to see that through with him.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
I mean, my suspicion is Kath will be around, but I cannot ask her or demand that, she owes me something, because that's, we are individuals.
What's the point of being married, then?
To enjoy each other's company, to have fantastic sex.
You do have good sex.
To raise a child. Yeah. We have amazing sex.
You've had good sex for 23 years.
Yeah, one of the things we did when we first set up our home is we declared a sex room. We built a sex room where we can basically act like animals. It's basically a hard floor and some ropes. And it's...
Nothing soft in the room to...
No, I think
we are... water bottles.
Water bottles.
So we can stay hydrated.
And there's a pillow, but the pillow got a little grody, so we threw it out.
Right. Okay, now...
We do need a pillow, remind me.
We do.
So you have a sex room.
Yes.
How often do you have sex, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, one of the things we do, I guess we have a bit of behavior modification in us, is we promise each other we will have intercourse 4 times a month and oral sex at least 3. And so those
Separate? Can oral happen at the same time?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes we can knock off, a couple and an oral in a session. Sure.
Right. Do you keep a tally, or
Absolutely.
Oh, that's scheduled every month.
Yeah.
Oh, on a day.
And if I'm busy or if I'm out of town, I'll have to catch up in February if I didn't perform in January, or, we can trade out. It's very negotiable. It's a very fluid economy we have.
Does anything happen spontaneously?
Oh, God, no.
Oh, okay.
It's so much more satisfying when we know exactly what we're in for.
Yeah, I think the expectations are there, and that's why marriages fail is because people don't have fair expectations or they don't speak their expectations. With Kath and I, our cards, literally, we have oral sex cards or intercourse cards. We even have a silent card. For example, sometimes I feel like Kath doesn't let me talk, so I'll give her a silent card, and she has to be quiet for 2 hours.
While you're having sex?
No, anywhere in the world.
I could get a silent card during this interview. I don't know. I might.
Kath had a lecture she was giving at the behavior psychology department.
It's a pretty big deal.
It was a big deal, and she frustrated me because she wasn't listening about this argument we'd had about the carpeting. So right before she went on stage, I gave her a silent card, and she couldn't give the speech.
You honored him.
Of course I did. It was time to be silent.
And you stood up there.
Silent.
And how'd that go over?
It was confusing.
Well, it was definitely confusing for the crowd. But I think ultimately, when I look back, I'm glad I didn't speak.
Yeah, because speaking to something you asked earlier, our first priority in our lives is to make each other happy. I know it might not seem like it from what you're saying, but
I just don't know how I'm going to find somebody who's going to follow these rules. I mean, some of them seem okay, but you're telling me that you find couples that read this book and both people are on board?
Well, one of the best things we put in our book is in-laws or friends are never welcome in our home.
No friends?
No friends. Because it creates fiction and it creates tension. So we always meet outside of the home.
The friends.
And in-laws. It started with in-laws because Kath's in-laws are rather difficult.
All right, let's focus a little bit on child rearing here because you do have a son. Now where does he get to have friends over? Does he know about all this stuff? Is there the sex room and all this business?
Well, for the first 8 years, there were no friends at the house because Kath was still breastfeeding.
Breastfeeding till 8 years old.
Correct. Just shy.
Okay. Is that right?
Yes.
They had
There's
an
nothing
incredible mother-child bond. It was so beautiful,
nothing
Mark.
like seeing your child walk up to you and ask you.
And you can see this,
teat.
not to plug it, but you can see this in our DVD that comes with our book, Weaning Your Boy.
What about sex with the kids in terms of teaching him about sex? 'Cause we talked a little bit about masturbation in your last book. So when it comes to talking about,
we have another book about that called Birds and Bees Talk, where we filmed ourselves teaching James about all the wonderful elements of becoming a sexual human being.
What does that mean? What did you film?
Our sit-downs with him.
Our sit-downs. And the series of exercises we did in front of him for him to really understand. It's just hard. He's a very visual boy, and you have to know how your children learn.
Audio visuals, like we would bring in some of Kath's dildos, for example, and we would go through average-sized penis to mutated penis or whatever.
But
what have you?
What about the actual act of intercourse?
Lovemaking.
Fine.
How did we teach him that?
Yes.
Well, when he was, I believe he was 16 years old and was still a virgin.
Yeah.
And I ponied up some money and got him a prostitute.
That seems really old school and kind of
prostitute with a doctorate degree in sexuality.
Fully tested for all STDs.
And how'd that go for James?
He loved it.
Yeah, he had a great time.
He loved it.
And
a beautiful woman.
Oh, she was
still
lovely.
a family friend.
Absolutely.
And
we sat her down afterwards to find out, just how she would rate his performance. And
she was also part of our experiment on James. Right. It's like we had a bunch of questions for her, how he performed, what were his hang-ups, because it all went into the book about Birds and Bees Talk.
Now, I don't usually do this, but I'm not really a journalist, but after reading your book and knowing I was going to talk to you, and it's been very enlightening. I'm not sure which way, and I know you're...
I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, I didn't know that people live like this. I mean, it's fairly specific, and I know you think it's...
in academia, it's fairly common. I can tell you that, Mark.
What are you saying?
In the upper levels of education,
in
there
the
are
academy
many couples,
where we work, yes,
there are many couples like us.
Okay.
When you go to some seminar at a university, this is going on.
Well, when I was doing some research on you on Google, I came upon a James McDowell, who I now know is your son. He's in a fairly popular Marilyn Manson cover band called The Beautiful People.
That's true.
And after reading your book, I thought, well, this kid, deserves to have a voice, and I've asked him to join us. Let me let him in. Hold on.
Okay. All right. This will go. This will be.
I guess this is what it is.
I haven't seen him in.
Oh man.
Yep. Hello, James.
Hi, sweetie.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Haven't seen you in a few days.
I know. How are you?
Excellent. How are you?
Okay.
That's a wonderful shirt you're wearing.
Thank you. I made it.
I've been talking to your parents, James. It's nice to meet you, and I appreciate you coming down today to do this, because I read their book, and I sort of browsed some of their other books, and I just think, in the way I was brought up, which wasn't really that great either, that you got two parents who are psychologists. I knew a lot of kids growing up as psychologists, and there's sex rooms, they're up in your shit all the time. Excuse me. I mean, what was that like?
It was insane. Just so crazy. You guys can see a lot of it on my blog. Can I plug my blog?
Yeah, sure.
It's called perfectschmerfict.tumblr.com.
Uh-huh.
It's deals with a lot of the.
Do they know about that?
I think they do.
I've seen links to it. I don't really care to go in there because I feel like I have a good relationship with my son, so I don't want to dig up any
so that's
skeletons.
the one place you're not going to be intrusive. And
if I need to talk about my son,
personal. That's on the internet. That's his private.
To me, that's his diary. I wouldn't read my son's diary.
Oh God, no.
But you were having someone write basically a status report of his first sexual experience. Yet you're not going to read his blog
because, again, boundaries are tantamount to successful relationships, and I feel like he's declaring a space on the
World Wide Web. Yes.
I notice you're not really talking here, James. Now, do you have something to say to your parents in the sense of, because I'm just curious, there's a sex room in the house?
The sex room, yeah, we've had a sex room. They installed it when I was 5 years old.
Uh-huh.
They speak of boundaries. I don't really feel like you've ever had any boundaries.
It was soundproof.
That's not true, James. You have complete freedom in our yard.
In the yard?
Yes, but I mean, we support you, but we don't invade your life, I don't think, do we?
Is he a dog? Is he a dog in the yard?
Thank you.
Well, the back area, we built a garage that is a wonderful studio apartment for our son.
Uh-huh. Is it a wonderful studio apartment, or is it like this?
It is pretty nice. It is a pretty nice apartment, but we've
done fairly well.
They won't let me move out, though. I'm not allowed to go to college.
Why?
I wasn't allowed to go to college. Too far away from the nest, they said.
What do you...
Well, it's not, he's an adult now. He's over 18 years old.
Right.
And we just don't think we should have to pay for college. In fact, we are still waiting, and this is no pressure, James, but everything we've spent on you
they invoiced
since you
me.
were...
When I turned 18, they invoiced me for every expense that I've caused them since I was born.
But with no interest. So there's...
What is that? How much money was that?
I think it was $3.1 million.
So you've got him basically staying at home, owing you $3.1 million, and you hold that over him, and that's somehow appropriate?
And I didn't get any of the book money, even though all these books were written about me.
The book money will be yours when you're 39, okay? And you get
39?
2%. 2%. Because, he didn't participate as a writer. I think we're being very generous. I'm not going to... We've had lawyers have these deals in front of all of us, and I think they're very fair. I don't feel like I'm exploiting my son, if that's what you're saying, James. I support you whenever you do. I've gone and seen many of your shows. We built a wonderful space for you and your friends.
The kid deserves an education. He deserves to be allowed out of the house.
We're not disallowing an education, Mark. There are wonderful community colleges in our area, and he can pursue that.
You're teachers. Right?
Yes,
You're
yes,
teachers.
Sir. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
You teach college.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you got a son that you're going to send to community college. You have money. You've written books about him. He's obviously, I feel like he's being held hostage.
Well, we're very old-fashioned.
Old-fashioned? You guys...
Bring yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah, we know the value of a dollar. We know the value of a dollar.
They say I'm an investment, and they've put a down payment on me until I can pay them back.
$3.1 million.
$3.1 mil.
So, James, I mean, I don't want to bring this up like this, but I mean, it sounds to me, in listening to them, that you could probably press charges for some of these videos. I mean, you were like, what were you, 15? They brought a prostitute over?
Well, technically, she was my dad's intern, so she was getting college credit for it, so I don't think that she's a prostitute.
She's not a professional streetwalker.
Did you pay
her? She got study hours.
Okay.
It's like a work-study program.
I may have presented her as a prostitute. She's not a prostitute.
Well, I guess what I'm saying, James, is I'm getting angry at your parents. Aren't you angry at your parents?
I'm absolutely angry with my parents.
Well, then what are you going to do about it?
Do you
continue to take it?
If you have an angry card on you,
angry card?
We would receive it.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a hug card.
Oh.
Okay, so
I
now
don't
he's
want
got
a hug card.
Well, you have one.
What's the angry card?
An angry card is if an index card that has the word angry on it,
and a frown.
Right. And if James feels angry, he can present us with one of those cards.
And if I collect 10 of those within a week, then we have to have a sit down and talk about why he's angry.
Why can't we just sit down and talk about what I'm angry about?
Because I haven't received.
Let's do it now. Let's do it now.
I don't mean to be a stickler, but I need to see 10 angry cards in front of me. Mark.
Yeah, look, we
We're
want to
not
have
in your world now. We're in my world.
But this is behavior modification. Do you
we
have?
want to have a
10
nice
angry cards?
interview, but we
All
just
right.
don't have all
If
the
you want to
cards.
spend them, if you want to use them,
Yeah,
I have them on me. Do you want me to hand them to you? Do you
Of
need
course
me to?
I do.
I can't just talk.
I have a couple.
of course I do.
I have a couple angry cards.
Let me see them. I may just honor them, Mark.
Give you.
You may just honor them?
Well, we have
Jesus
separate
Christ,
currencies.
You people are out of your
I'll give you
fucking
8.
minds.
I'll give you 8
I
angry
resent
cards,
that.
and Mark can give you 2.
Okay, fine.
Here.
I guess we're now having an angry
Yeah,
conversation.
he'll go his 8, and I'll go 2.
Fair
Okay,
enough.
great. Thank
You can
you.
have yours back,
Thank you for
Mark.
throwing those.
You're giving
Please
it back
don't.
to me?
You're damaging our economy.
Well, I don't appreciate a lot of the things that you guys did, and when I was growing up, as far like the books and stuff.
Yeah.
Can I?
No.
Not
Okay.
yet.
I don't like that my potty training is out there. Like, people can watch that right now. Like, people I know. I don't like that my wiener doesn't work now.
Whoa. What do you mean your wiener doesn't work?
Yeah, I haven't been able to sustain an erection since I was 17 years old.
Why is that? Could that have something to do with the breastfeeding till you're 8?
The breastfeeding till I was 8, the family roundhouse masturbation.
What is that? Wait, whoa. Family roundhouse masturbation?
They said it wasn't a race, but I don't see any other point than a race. Like, the rules were the same as a race, but they get real mad and give me an angry card when I called it a race.
All right, Jerry, you can talk.
Thank you.
Explain
the last
yourself.
thing, the roundabout was we would go into separate rooms, and we would just say go, and whoever reached orgasm first won the race, and they got a free ice cream sundae.
You had to bring proof.
What's the point of that? This kid is so confused he can't even find his anger. You hear he's all
I'm willing to
compressed.
talk about
I
fixing the penis issue right now.
There's
Yeah,
two-way
I'd love to
glass.
talk about that.
The whole time growing up, there was two-way glass between my room and the sex room. And for whatever reason, they installed that when they built it. And I could see out, but nobody could see into my room. I don't get that. Why did you do that?
Well, that was just an honest mistake. That was supposed to be a guest room.
And it was
we
later
had
covered
to-
with a poster
Yes.
of Mick
Listen
Jagger.
to your tone. So you're saying now you're saying I can fix the penis problem?
Mm-hmm.
What you've caused this kid nothing but problems. You can't fix anything. You guys are ridiculous.
I don't
You
believe we caused the dysfunction in his penis, Mark. I truly don't. I mean,
What do you
everything,
think it is, Jerry?
I
Well,
think
it's
it's our
hard.
society.
Yeah.
If you
And
really want to know.
And the
I
truth
think you're in
is,
denial, and you both are a couple of freaks. And I'm amazed that anybody's
Oh,
buying
wow.
your book.
I resent
This
that
is
term.
really-
freak.
yeah.
This is not
This is
a good interview
really-
at this
Give me
point.
an angry
This
card.
is name calling.
You can't- no,
You don't have angry cards.
Don't-
I will give you an angry
Don't
card.
use that
Fine.
tone with me, Jerry. Unless
Fine.
you have an angry
You
card.
have an angry card. Now
Okay.
you don't even know
Jerry,
what to
be
do with
careful.
them.
I
Take
do.
that card back, Jerry.
I'll
Okay.
take the card back. You people
You're
should
right.
be in a hospital. The kid
I
can
know.
move in here.
Thank you. I'd love to.
We have done nothing. Our child has never been molested. We
Never,
have
not
fed
once.
him.
That's
we have
arguable.
clothed him. We have
That's
never
arguable.
touched him. We
You're-
have
you're-
never touched him sexually
But
ever.
He was breastfeeding till he was 8.
That is not is breastfeeding a sexual thing to
After
you?
a certain point, it's
It is to me. Breastfeeding is absolutely a sexual thing to me. I scour Craigslist every day looking for lactating women.
Does your
I don't
penis
think
work
that's-
for that?
No, it doesn't. I get off on the shame,
Huh.
and I can only ejaculate from internal stimulation,
What does that mean?
like massaging my prostate
Uh-huh.
from inside of my body.
I understand.
Well, that's fine.
Let me just try to summarize a little bit here. You two have a marriage where you're fairly separate. That you know,
Independent,
okay, you
but
can call
loving.
what you want. You have a sex room. You sleep in different rooms, probably.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, that's not so unusual. You have a son here that you experimented on who can't get it up, even when he tries to enjoy the one thing that he fetishizes, which is women who are breastfeeding, and he can only have an orgasm by sticking his finger in his ass. And he lives in a garage in the back, and you say he owes you $3 million. And somehow or another, you call this successful parenting, and you say you have a successful marriage. And,
Well,
and
if you paint it like that,
That wasn't a very rosy picture.
were those all facts?
I think those are selective facts.
Okay,
I
so
think
okay,
there
let
are
me
the-
add a few other ones. You
Okay.
you have no talk Tuesdays. You give each other anger cards and quiet cards, and you don't allow friends or relatives in the house. You have sex with interns and Okay, I don't want to be closed-minded, and I'm going to let my listeners decide what they want to decide. So why don't you tell me the name of the book is called The Perfect Marriage.
Perfect Marriage will be at the Pasadena Barnes & Noble, and you can also
And how do you draw in Pasadena?
Very well. Mm-hmm. Very well. There's a big academic population there. And we also have jerryandkathphd.com. And I'm sure, James, you have a show you'd love to promote or something.
Yeah, I have my band, The Beautiful People. We're going to play at the Squash.
Can I just say something to your listeners? They're not, the band is not very good. So I just want to adjust James, this is just about me adjusting
Holy
expectations.
Shit, my penis isn't going to work after this interview.
We have 2 original songs.
2 original songs.
It's a cover band. He's a Marilyn Manson cover band.
Well, they play to a karaoke track.
I think he's wonderful. I just think he's wonderful when you know what you're getting, which is something fairly mediocre.
Thank you, Mom.
You're welcome.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, Jerry, Cathy, James, I thank you for being my guest.
Thank you so much.
For having
this
us
was
on.
wonderful.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this. Yes.
Was it wonderful?
Yes. Yes, it was. Absolutely.
James?
It was okay. I appreciate the support.
Okay, buddy. Well,
do you need a ride home?
Yeah, you guys won't let me drive.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Well, I guess we learned something there. Different strokes for different folks, I guess they say. Or maybe they just say different strokes now. They probably don't say the whole last part. They might not say any of that. But that was interesting.